Who looks at all the backlash the UK is getting for basically the same thing and decides now is the ample time to try this bill again. Charlie made a video on it, did he? Let me see if I can watch it.
If I asked you to give me your ID to watch this video, provide some form of identification, what would you tell me?
No.
I hope your answer would be a resounding no, telling me to go eat dirt. Because that's not just like some kind of innocent, annoying question. That's legitimately just an assault on your freedom. It's an extremely scary and concerning direction the online space is heading. No longer is this just the wacky Wild West of the World Wide Web where Timmy Turner once surfed on an email and Fairly Odd Parents. Now,
it's a different time.
It is actively being censored.
Different.
We're seeing that happen a lot. Censorship is spiraling, especially in video games, with Collective Shout getting Steam and itch.
It's going to get a lot worse. It is. It's going to get a lot worse, especially whenever people like this realize they can make a change.
Two separate platforms to remove hundreds and hundreds of games that they deemed highly harmful and, deplorable. So they had the Visa and MasterCard come forward, threaten to pull out of them and bully them into submission. They got them in the fucking headlock. So then they just went belly up and played ball, removing all of these titles, which, by the way, was not just freaky gooner games. In itch.io's case, people have learned over the last few days, tons and tons of games have been de-indexed that didn't have...
Well, it creates a chilling effect, and this is the problem, is that as soon as companies realize and these platforms realize that they could lose their payment processing opportunities, they will be overzealous in removing games ahead of time so they don't accidentally get in trouble. And that's really what the problem is.
Any porn in them at all. So it wasn't just like rape and incest weirdo games. It was any game or mini games included that are just darker themes that have more like
and then also like here's the other component to it that I don't think anybody's talking about. Is that what maybe Collective Shout isn't going after all NSFW games, and they don't want all porn games banned. They only want the ones banned that are negative or detrimental to women from their point of view. But what happens whenever another advocacy group that's like Collective Shout wants all of them banned? And then they email MasterCard, and then the same thing happens then. You see what I'm saying? So, like, even if you solve this problem and you address this one specifically, if it happens once, it'll happen again. They defended cuties? Yeah, of course. I saw that. It's the same argument against more internet regulation. Well, I don't know necessarily if it is. I think it depends on what it is. But I think that government behavior and private company behavior shouldn't be graded on the same scale. You can't really make a one-to-one comparison in a lot of cases.
Themes in them with no, like, sexual content. It's absurd, and it's something everyone could have seen coming. Anyone with a functioning frontal lobe could tell you that censorship is not something to be celebrated.
No.
When you try and target low-hanging fruit, something easy like
and I think also like censorship in some cases are things like we all agree with, right? Like, like CSAM, like any like child sexual abuse stuff, like, yeah, get rid of that, censor that, get rid of, doxing, stuff like that, censor that for sure. But the problem is that this is the real issue. It's that these people want to make their opinions the law. And they don't want to change the law. They want to have their opinions, enforce them as if they are the law, but not actually pass a law. That's the issue. And that's what they're doing.
Gross, disgusting porn games that are all about, like, incest and shit. You'll get a lot of clapping seals like, yippee, you saved us. But what they don't realize is that it doesn't stop there. That is just the beginning. That just opens the door. So that way they can censor even more. It is absurd and out of control, but I'm going off on a tangent. The point is, the internet is under attack in a large way across the board, not just in gaming. I'm sure all of you have seen what's happening in the UK right now with their Online Safety Act, where now to access a myriad of content, you need to provide your identification.
Wow.
That's not acceptable. Just like we were all taught growing up, never take candy from a stranger, don't talk to strangers, say no to that kind of shit. You should also be taught to say no to this too. You should not be providing your ID willy-nilly online. That is not something...
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too. And also, like, the way that they need to do it, if they want to do this, this has to be like a government check system that is done by a encrypted government third party. So you don't have something like the TAP leak happen. That's the big issue. Is that like, and also other countries have done this. Like, for example, China does this. I don't think that's a great example of like how we should do things, but they're able to do it. And also, South Korea does it. South Korea does the same thing. So it's not like this is some impossible thing that they can't figure out. It's that I don't want an individual company doing this. If you want to make an ID system, it has to be a universal government ID system that has accountability to the public. You can't just have all these random companies asking you for your driver's license constantly.
Something that should just be loosey-goosey, no care in the world. Oh, here's all my personal identification. Here, yeah, take it. That way I can access fucking Wikipedia. By the way, Wikipedia is actually affected by this. Now, in some cases, it's not providing an ID. It's instead providing your face. It will scan your face, so you're giving them your biometric data in that case. Again, big time no-no.
Again, I have no problem doing this when I'm signing up for a driver's license or I'm signing up for something like that. But I do have a big problem doing this when I'm signing up for a social media website and I'm giving it to the social media website directly. Hell no. Well, yeah, it's awful. Like, I mean, we can't be giving this shit away to private companies like this all the time. Yeah, legal documents, yes, but not social media. Exactly. Like registering to vote. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to give your data away for, and that's fine. But the difference is that these are governments. And this is kind of what I was saying before. Do you see kind of like this apparatus that's being created where these online companies are creating basically a government? They're creating a government on the internet. They're creating a government on the internet with no accountability, no democracy, no representation, and no way of stopping it. That's the issue. Tracking data versus selling data is different. Yeah. Like this information should never go to a third party for-profit company.
Be the one to come in here and teach you why privacy is important, but I hope somebody has. This is not
if you play PlayStation, you know that.
Good thing. So in some of these processes, it's not always required to give your full ID and your like fucking credit card statements or anything. Instead, some may ask to like scan your face and everything.
Yeah.
Also still frowned upon. You still shouldn't do that either. This bill was paraded around like it was some righteous, legislation that was aimed at protecting kids from accessing harmful content online, specifically porn. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've got your thinking caps on, if you're activating...
Surely now all the kids are going to stop looking at porn. We're just going to do this new law, and then all the kids won't see any more porn. It's going to go away. Problem solved.
Neurons can probably recognize a pattern since basically the beginning of time, the beginning of the internet here, where porn is always used as this ultimate boogeyman. It's the galactic...
Yeah, it's the really bad one. And in my opinion, I don't even think porn is the bad one. It's grooming that's the bad one. This person brings up a great point. LinkedIn uses a government vendor Clear. I'm assuming this is the same Clear that you use in the airport too. In order to verify someone's identity. LinkedIn does not get the info specifically. Yes, exactly. This is reasonable. This is reasonable, and this is something that can work. But the problem is that the companies doing it themselves, that does not work. Absolutely not. Until they get hacked, anything will get hacked. The ISPs get hacked. Your computer can get hacked. Just because something can get hacked doesn't mean that you should just do everything with no level of like security. That's silly.
This level threat that they always have to pass legislation to combat. And to people that don't want to do any thinking and would rather have all their thoughts put into their head by the government on what they should and should not support, it sounds like a nice notion. You don't want kids having access to harmful content like porn online. That makes sense. But the second you make like George and get a bit curious and, God forbid, get into your ponder stance and start thinking and look into these type of pushes, you will recognize the goal is not to protect kids. It's not to protect anyone.
Yeah, it's a Trojan horse. It's a moral Trojan horse where they can use to push in censorship of political ideology, dissenting viewpoints, or anything that would challenge them in a way that they think is inconvenient.
Anything. These are called Trojan horses, where...
Yeah, pretty much.
They push these through under a false pretense like this with so many huge detrimental consequences attached to it that impede on your freedom. They use this idea of protecting kids from harmful content as a way of getting this bill across the line that has really bad stuff in it. There is nothing good about handing over your freedoms. No. And it's even more sad how few people even recognize it happening in front of their face. And even beyond that, even more pathetic, is the people that are happy about it, that don't mind giving away all of their personal information.
Because they will sell your personal information too. This is another component that people might not realize, is that how many of you guys have ever signed up for something or given someone your phone number, and then you start getting phone calls from random places that you have no idea, like, who is this person? Like, what is this? Yeah, exactly. Like, that's why, like, the government will too. Well, the government hasn't done that yet. Or at least they don't do it very often. And yeah, every damn time. Exactly. And so, like, that's it. You have to change your number. Yeah, you have to change your phone number. It's very, very fucking annoying. When there is no product, you are the product. Well, people, they look for data, and they look for emails and phone numbers and stuff like that. And the reason why is because they sell that data and they use it as a resource. So when you sign up for, like, a free trial, it wasn't free. It cost you your phone number.
Was not about protecting children from accessing porn. Yeah. It did not just require ID to be provided for porn sites. It was required for anything that they deemed maybe potentially opening up children to harmful content. That includes Discord features. It includes some forums. It includes Twitter. It includes Reddit. Anything that could even be moderately argued opens them up to, like, adult content or harmful subjects is hit by this, requiring them to have age verification in place. Where you
I saw, like, the screenshots from the EU, and it's like you go through your profile, and it's like this picture is hidden, this post is hidden, you can't see this item, this one might not comply with regulations. Like, the entire fucking thing is it's like when the CIA releases documents about UFOs, and it says, like, the date, and then, like, the year is blacked out, and then the entire screen and the entire page is blacked out, and it says at the very end, it says, did this, and that's it. It's all redacted. Yeah.
Provide an ID to prove you are 18 years or older in order to grant access to that. You know the whole meme of, like, oi, you got a license to be breathing that air? Yeah. Where it's all about, like, how over the top the UK is with this kind of bullshit. Well, now it has become beyond parody, where you actually need a fucking license to send Discord shit. You need a license for Wikipedia articles, basically. Wikipedia is being hit by this, by the way.
This is inevitable. I'm going to say this. People might not want to hear it, but I think that it's true. The internet being an unregulated Wild West never could have lasted forever. And it hasn't lasted. There is only the illusion of it lasting. The idea of having anonymity on the internet is 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, probably 999 times out of 1,000, a mirage. If the FBI wants to find out what you were doing on the internet, they're going to be able to do it. That's not the problem. The problem is private companies that are able to do this and that are able to exercise their own rules that are separate from actual laws. and also them using this as a way to effectively censor political discussion and political content. And you already have this happen in places like Iran. When the war in Iran was happening, Iran just turned off the internet. It all ended with the Patriot Act. Well, like, for example, like if you want to set up a bank account, it's pretty hard to do that without a government ID. If you want to get a driver's license, you have to verify that you are indeed a person and you're of a certain age. It's hard to get a driver's license unless you make a fake one. Like there are a million things in the world that you need to verify and check, right? And of course that's the case. The internet is not the internet that we grew up in. The internet is not an alternate reality. The internet is reality. People spend more time now on the internet than they spend in real life. So this entire idea that what you're doing on the internet and what you're doing in real life are these two totally separate worlds, that's not true anymore. It's just not. Like people are using their real names. Most people are. And you've got people on Twitter doing the same thing. People are using two-factor verification, authentication. They're attaching their phone numbers to their accounts. Nobody's really anonymous anymore. And it's not like in 2007 where it's just like random 4chan posters making, comments about Boxy. The world has changed, and it's completely changed. It's no longer, the internet is no longer an alternate reality. It is a separate reality. And it is an augment to our reality. And for a lot of people like myself, the internet is reality. Spend more time on the internet in real life. And so it's completely over. Yes, times change. And so I think that with the times changing, there will be a level of accountability that has to follow that. Because you can't have people doing business, living their lives, and doing all of these things on the internet, and then having anonymity with everything. It's like driving around without license plates. It's like doing anything else without any form of identification. You have to have something. This was inevitable. But the problem is that, and this is what Charlie's talking about, and this is the big issue. If this happens, it can also be used to justify censorship and to be overly controlling. Like voting? Yes, exactly. There's so many bad sides to the interwebs? Yeah, of course there is, right? This is essential legislation. It's not necessarily essential legislation, but it's inevitable legislation. This will happen because there is the honest question that I think nobody can really answer in a genuine way. Where is the benefit of a 15-year-old girl having and posting on Instagram? There isn't any. There is literally zero benefit and only negatives. Literally fucking zero. And I think that there are, and that it's zero at best. That's really the big problem. And that's the reason why I think these people are going to be in this situation.
Way. And they're trying to plead their case here about how detrimental this is, trying to bring some kind of sanity and reason back to the UK here in some capacity. I know this word gets tossed around a lot by a bunch of Redditors when tipping their fedora at anything they don't like.
Sure.
But this actually is dystopian. This is preposterous. This was never designed to protect kids from accessing harmful things like porn. It was designed for control and surveillance of their citizens. And it's being proposed in the US as well. If you thought this was an exclusive thought process just for the UK, you're very wrong. America would love to get their fingers in our buttholes as well. And
of course they would. Absolutely. And again, the people that want to do this, this is the problem. It's like always the old phrase, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Very clearly, there are a lot of people that want to do this for good reasons, like to avoid grooming and to do stuff like that. But the problem is that those people are used as a Trojan horse to get in actual censorship. And I think that's what's happening in the UK. Because like as with most things like this, there's elements of it that I agree with.
Now have the Kids Online Safety Act that has been reintroduced in late May that aims to do something very similar here. It's a very common tactic where these proposed legislations will have things like, we have to protect the children. You know, another classic meme, think of the children.
Yeah, of
well, it's
course.
a meme for a reason, because it is the go-to strategy for a lot of politicians, because it's very easy to drum up support under this false pretense. It is not about protecting kids. This isn't actually trying to stop kids from accessing porn. It is a convenient way for them to control your information and spy on you freely, openly, and easily. It is all about surveillance, control, and censorship. And all I can do is sit here and cross my...
He's completely right about this, by the way. This is the reason why something like this has to happen through a government authentication system that the individual companies have no awareness of, and they have no access to, only through a checking mechanism, like LinkedIn, for example. You can't have the companies doing this themselves.
Fingers and toes while kissing a rabbit's foot that we are lucky enough that this will be shot down as it has in the past in this country. But it's not guaranteed. Obviously, most people don't want kids accessing porn.
Yeah.
And in an age where information can spread so quickly, so wrongly, there's...
Everybody knows, like, this is something that's probably, like, politically incorrect to say this, but, like, if you were 12 years old now and you were in the UK, do you think this would stop you from looking at porn? Really? Like, I mean, let's just be honest about this. I don't even think this would put a dent in it. It's not going to change this at all. It's not going to do anything. Like, if I was a kid, this wouldn't stop me. I'd just work around it the same as I work around everything else. And so the real reason, and, like, this is the problem, is that because they're not willing to use an actual comprehensive system like South Korea, and they use these weird half measures, what they end up doing is all they're achieving is just censoring things and not helping anybody. And that's the big problem. Kids are the most resourceful. Well, they don't have anything else to do. I'd steal a relative's ID and use it. Yeah, sure, right? I mean, a million different ways of doing it. This isn't about porn. It's about corporate profits. I don't even think it's about that, honestly. I think it's about the government trying to create narratives and control narratives. That's really what's going on here. It's not even about corporations at all. We have an actual censorship supporter in chat. What is this here? Let me read this person's message. Why isn't he explaining how 12-year-olds get around it? How? How would they get around it? Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ways, right? I mean, you could, so there's a way that you could use a parent's account. You could get on your parent's account. Like, that's what I did. Like, I mean, I just used my mom's account to go on the internet. Like, I used my mom's computer. Like, how many of you guys, whenever you looked at porn the first time, you just did it on the family computer? So, like, it's not even like, so like your parents have it, and then you just delete the history. So, like, I mean, that's one way that's, like, really obvious, right? Opera browser has a VPN built into it. Yeah, sure. I'm just saying in general. Earlier messages. And what is this here? Just relax, guys. USA think a lot of peeps London equals the UK. This is so funny to us in the UK. We think America's overreacting. Destiny is the result of accessing porn easily. We've seen the negative of kids accessing porn easily. It's essential legislation. It's old school RuneScape streamers. What is this here? I'll let this person make one more comment that I want to move on past this. That's something a 12-year-old would ask? Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a million different ways that you can get around rules like this. I mean, it's common sense.
There's a lot of people that might hear the tiddlywinks about this bill, think it's doing something that it's not, and support it. Mm-hmm. It's very possible. There has never been an easier time to get some really damaging freedom overturning bills passed than right now. Yeah. Because you control so much information so easily, and most people don't bother to spend even a fucking iota of a second researching any of the topics. It's
that's
just
the way with everything. Yeah, people don't
really know concerning mix of ingredients here for, like, the possible perfect storm of no longer having an internet that you can access without providing identification. For some reason, it's become highly accepted and normalized that the internet is expected to cater to children being on it completely unsupervised.
That is the problem. That is the issue. I think that you can draw the line at social media websites and peer-to-peer messaging, But the idea that the entire internet needs to be sanitized, regulated, and controlled because some parent that's a shitty parent might not be able to control their kid going on a bad website, this is outrageous. I don't think that the entire population has to live with censorship because some parents can't live with accountability. It's a completely massive distortion, and it doesn't make any sense at all. It's also a lot harder now because parents give their kids iPhones. Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can check that probably, right? I mean, there's so many tools to manage it as well. You can install a keylogger to get parents' passwords. Yeah, exactly. You're making a good points, but I don't see proof for the Trojan horse argument. Sure. So basically, here's the point that I'm making. So anything that would be unacceptable for a kid to see. So do you think that violence and certain types of political extremism would be unacceptable for a kid to see? I think there would be a lot of people who would arrive at the conclusion that, yes, actually, it would be unacceptable for a kid to see it. So because of that, you could have things like the different pushes for, the lesser immigration in the EU, for example. You could have that be categorized as behavior that should be censored. They could easily make that argument. And I think that you could make that argument because really this is a complex adult political issue that really shouldn't be being shown to kids. This isn't really about kids. Kids don't understand that. And so, yeah, play the UK PM talking to Trump about this today. You mean whenever the UK PM said that you don't get in trouble for, saying things on the internet, but then there's like multiple examples of people getting in trouble for saying things on the internet? He's lying. He's saying something that's not true. And it's verifiably not true because you can look at what's happened to people and you can look at what laws they have. Why would you listen to what he's saying instead of looking at what he's doing? I don't even understand that.
And while that does happen, that is the fault of the parent, and the blame lies solely on the parent refusing to do their job in raising their own fucking kids. It is not the internet's responsibility to do that for them. Now,
the world does not need to be a padded room for you to bounce around in. This is the same viewpoint that I've had with like that 2% stuff. Why are we catering all of society around the dumbest, most irresponsible, most violent, abusive, aggressive, problematic, and antisocial people? Why are we doing that? It seems like a massive mistake.
You know, it's been very common for parents to just sit their kids in front of an iPad, creating these iPad kids, setting them up for failure, really, by refusing to actively be a part of their life and raise them.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean that the internet needs to step in and change to do it for them. There needs to be the onus placed back on the household. The parents should be once again in charge of raising their kids. That's how it used to be, and that's how you had normal people develop. And
also the other problem is that back then you did have bad situations happen. And this is something that I think a lot of people might be uncomfortable discussing. But back then when you didn't have as many rules, you also had bad things happen to people. Absolutely. But that's life. And in a lot of cases, I would want to have a world where, maybe bad things can happen, but you live with a little bit more freedom. And that's the case with a lot of things in the U.S. Like, for example, guns. Like, we can have guns here, and I can guarantee you if there were no guns allowed, there probably would be a net decrease in gun deaths. But does that mean that we should take away everybody's guns? No. It's the same as speed limits. If you took the speed limit down by 20 miles an hour, I bet probably you would have less accidents everywhere. But would that be better for everybody? No. So, again, don't fall for the illusion of safety and even a degree of safety and then trade away your entire freedom to it. Yeah, ban cars, save lives. Yeah, it's insane. And so, take the gun. Ban guns are bad, okay? Speed limits are unconstitutional. True, brother. Yep. And so left brain cannot tolerate unknowns and uncertainties. Freedom is the ultimate uncertainty. Well, and this is the problem, is that people have these like extreme viewpoints on things. And I think that I have a pretty moderate viewpoint on it, where I think that social media and peer-to-peer messaging apps should be regulated with a pretty high degree, and you shouldn't allow minors on those social media apps. But using the entire internet and making the entire internet like that without even having to log on is such a massive overreach that I don't agree with it at all.
this, not under the thumb of the government
that's
sticking its nose in your business. It is terrifying. Why have we just gotten to the point where we excuse bad parenting and instead force the internet to be the ones to be the parental figure, where everything is like babied to ensure a kid doesn't accidentally access fucking Wikipedia or something? It's completely preposterous. And on top of that, it's downright dangerous for everybody. You shouldn't be providing your identification and all of this data like this. It's just not good.
Well, and you can look at the T-App leak. I mean, the reality is that, I mean, yes, it's a hose-mad situation, and we can all laugh at them and think that it's funny, but the reality is that these women are having their lives ruined, and now they have their picture posted online. Probably a lot of them, this really negatively affected them emotionally, and did they deserve it? I mean, like, I would say, yeah, kind of. But, like, at the same time, the fact that it can happen is bad. It's funny. Yeah, exactly. But, like, what I'm saying is that a bad thing happening to a bad person is funny, but it's still a bad thing. And the reality is that if a leak can happen to the T app, it can happen to other apps as well. Most hacking and most, like, database breaches, from my understanding, are just straight up social engineering. It's not like some guy uses some kind of like weird machine that he created and it's a headset that allows him to hack into the government with his mind. It's just a guy that's using someone else's credentials and then downloading the database to a hard drive and then taking the hard drive out of the building. That's what's really happening. And so, correct, I work in cyber. Yeah, I would say 90%, 95% are social engineering, phishing, and identity theft. It's not actual database breaches through genuine hacking. Our entire API was open with no passwords? Yeah, exactly. The T-App leak was a form of ethical hacking? No, it wasn't. It was not ethical hacking, because hacking would imply that you would have to get into something. They just put all of the... This guy basically said, okay, I'm going to take everybody's driver's licenses and put them in this box. And then some guy said, hey, what's this box? Damn, what are all these driver's licenses? Holy shit. Yeah, they didn't even get hacked. There was no security. In order to have hacking, you'd need to be bypassing security. Security wasn't even bypassed.
Really hope we don't see it come to America. I wanted to put all of this on your plate here, put it on your radar, because this is not something good. Don't let the propaganda fool you. It is not aiming to actually protect anybody or anything.
No.
It is solely for control and surveillance, trying to get more data from you to monitor your activities and ensure you are the drone they want you to be. This is not a good thing. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. That's it.
Fucking based. Absolutely. Absolutely 100% fucking based. Charlie is totally right about this. I think that, again, concessions will have to be made for certain things on the internet because the internet has become an integral part of our real lives. But the idea that the entire internet needs to be censored, regulated, and controlled because some parents can't control their kids. Here's the original fucking Child Safety Act. It's called parenting. That's it. That's what you need to do. And so, yeah, Europe is a testing grounds for the USA. Make sure to give the video a like. I totally fucking agree with them, right? Kids should be controlled, not the freedom. Yeah, definitely, right? The idea that you get arrested for online comment is a myth. You get arrested for hate speech, incitement to violence. Edgelords like to pretend otherwise. Okay, so like then you make an online comment and they say it's hate speech and you get arrested. Okay, so then you get arrested for an online comment. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm glad you cleared that up for me. Thanks. I was confused there, but now I understand. And so anyway, define hate speech. Yeah, I don't want to hear that bullshit. And anyway, I think the responsibility of keeping kids safe from danger should be given to the parents, not by making the internet shit for everyone. Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, Democrats get their way. The same thing you see in Europe will happen in the U.S. Well, and this is also another big problem, is that everybody talks about this, but they don't realize that this type of behavior and this activity is what's going to be used as a foundation to censor other things like COVID. Like the exact rules that they're making right now for kids are rules that they will apply whenever COVID or something like that happens in the future. I'll be right back. Yeah, obviously, can you guys imagine them doing the exact same thing with COVID? I definitely can. I think anybody could. I'll be right back.